Hello there! Welcome to my show, COVID-19 Update by Heerak. Um, today is August 9th, 2020. Still summertime. Fun times, fun times. As you know, I'm very excited and happy. Our last day of classes was on Friday for clinical nurse leader. Actually, for the whole Georgetown University, every program. Uh, End of summer term was Friday. Final grades from the professors are due tomorrow on August 10th. So every single program, every master's program, bachelor's program, doctoral program. All the grades are due by tomorrow, August 10th. So it's one time we can all agree. Friday was the last day for the whole term. Yeah, it's a whole university thing. But university is closed right now. So there are no students really on. There's no classes, physical classes. It's all online on Zoom. Zoom became the most important platform in the world thanks to COVID-19. I bet the makers make a killing right now. Sometimes they say some men are made, born great. Some some men achieve greatness, and some men have greatness fall upon them. It's like the Zoom guy. Maybe he's combination of all three. But yeah, definitely the guy's lucky. So everybody's using Zoom. So people are using Zoom for social reasons. People are using Zoom for classroom reasons. It's like whichever university you go to, they use Zoom. I mean, it's probably the most centralized program in the world right now. It's kind of like Microsoft. It dominates all the PCs. Zoom dominates all the internet classes. I don't know what happened to Google and Microsoft and you know and Mark Zuckerberg. He's only like Facebook. He doesn't do anything else. So, there's no point talking about him. But Google and Microsoft, it's kind of shocking that they don't really have a share of the pie. In the COVID-19 era. Um, if Bill Gates spent more time trying to bring Microsoft to the COVID-19 era than just going on the circuit, kind of, talking about COVID. Maybe Microsoft can become dominant again. We all know the secret behind Microsoft's success was Bill Gates, Um, so, once Bill Gates retired, Microsoft is like going down the hill. I guess it's expected. It's, one way to view history is the one man view of history. One person makes all the difference. For example, there would not be Facebook without Mark Zuckerberg. Although he's like a little tunnel vision kind of guy, just does Facebook. I mean, he has his value and worth, right? He did create Facebook, that's pretty impressive. But he hasn't really done anything else, so that's not so impressive. Mark, come on, get up your butt and do something. um, but Bill Gates, he's an incredible guy. I mean, he created Microsoft. Both Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates are dropouts from Harvard. Shows that college isn't that important, guys. You create your own Facebook, create your own Microsoft company if you're 18 or 19, like Bill Gates did or Mark Zuckerberg did. You're not too young to create a multi-billion-dollar company. But anyway, but Bill Gates is actually very impressive. I'm much more impressed by Bill Gates than Mark Zuckerberg. Because Bill Gates, he not only created Microsoft, I mean, he's done a lot. Just he's branched out into different areas, and he's actually an incredible guy. When you see him talk about growth, you can tell he's pretty intense. He probably did a lot of research. His daughter's really pretty. The girl who goes to Stanford. I'm like, man, maybe I should go to Stanford and, uh, met Bill Gates' daughter. But yeah, she seems really nice too. But I mean, you get a lot of nice people at Georgetown. So I'm glad that I met all the people that I met at Georgetown. So to be honest with you, I don't have regrets, but it would have been nice to have met, Bill Gates' daughter. I like Bill Gates. She's pretty. So I'm sure we have a lot to talk about. But anyhow, anywho, yeah. Anyway, Georgetown is starting up again. The new semester is starting. Old has gone and the new has come. You know, the king is dead. Long live the king. You know the saying? Like, when a king dies, generally his son becomes king, right? Uh, and so they say the king is dead, and then long live the king, meaning the old king has died, and the son has become king. So I mean, you saw, the TV shows, right? Game of Thrones, right? So you know how that is. Game of Thrones taught us so much about royal life and kingdoms and fighting, infighting. People fighting among family members. But it was all like realistic, right? Because that actually happens in history. It happened in history. So yeah, I mean, it's based on like historical events. Those things that you saw happen in Game of Thrones actually happened in history. Power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely, right? And it was absolute monarchy, in those days. Um, yeah, but yeah, I mean, right now, COVID-19 is the most powerful king in the world after God, controls everything, right? I mean, it's not just America, it's like all over the world. But today is, National Book Lovers Day. And obviously, Game of Thrones, all the things that you see there, the writers of Game of Thrones got ideas by reading the book. So Book Lovers Day, it's significant, So I'm wearing red, in support of Book Lovers Day. I don't know. It's like I felt like, what color would be a Book Lovers Day color? I thought to myself, red, because red is the color of passion, and book raises passions. It's a powerful medium, the word, written word can move you like poetry, you know. And so I thought red would be like apropos. So I'm wearing red today. But yeah, so it's still summer. And as you know, I enjoy fun. I enjoy parties. I enjoy socializing with people. Yeah, so like Harry's looking at me, he's shaking his head. I don't know if that means yes or no, because in India they say yes by shaking their head side to side. I don't know if you ever seen that. Because I'm an adjunct professor in India, at a college in India. So I've seen that a lot among my students. I said, "Do you agree?" And they start shaking their head side to side. I'm like, "Is that yes or no?" The first time, I told them I wasn't sure what they were. I don't know if they were saying no or yes. They shake their head side to side like this. Because in America, we kind of go yes, yes, we kind of bow. But yeah, so I mean, it's a difference in culture. Um, yeah, so my dad was telling me like my dad was helping me with my speech when I was in like um, middle school at Belmont Christian Academy in Philadelphia. I went to Belmont Christian Academy since I immigrated to Philly, Philadelphia, all the way till my graduation from high school. And I participated in speech contests there. All the Christian schools come together and have speech contests. And one of the things my dad pointed out that helped me with my speech um, on multiculturalism was in America you say like this to say goodbye, right? You say bye. But in Korea, you go like this to say, come over here. So my dad was saying, like his friends would say like this, and he thought they were asking him to come over there. When he first came to America, like his friends at Westminster Theological Seminary, like Presbyterian church pastors, and they'll go like that. So he thought they were calling him over. So he would walk all the way over to where they were. And they're like, oh, I'm just saying goodbye. I'm like, so my dad's like, well, in Korea, people like that just come over here. So, because in America, you say come over here, you go like this, right? You say come over here, you do it like underhanded like this. But in Korea, you say come over here. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny, right? I mean, yeah, the differences in culture, it's interesting, Um, cultures are different, people are different. And we see that COVID death rate is different too. So yeah, I mean, God bless the United States of America. So we just love the American flag, especially when it's worn by beautiful women. It just makes it much more beautiful like that. But yeah, I mean, this is summer. Enjoy your summer. My goodness. I love the beach. I love swimming pool. I love the beach more than swimming pool though. But yeah, this is like summer. You gotta enjoy it. I'm sure all of them love books. Either like books made into movies, like Harry Potter movies. His name is Harry. Harry Potter books are made into Harry Potter movies, right? I have to be honest with you. I have not read a single Harry Potter book. I've only seen the movies, but I've seen every single movie. Um, I'm a visual person. Yes, I'm a writer. I'm an author. Uh, I write fictional books. I write short stories. I write poetry. I do write nonfiction because I'm a historian. History is nonfiction. I'm an expert of Jews. But I have to say, if I had a choice between reading a book and watching a movie, I'd rather watch a movie. I mean, yes, it is an interpretation. And I presented a paper on the Da Vinci Code, the movie. I don't know if you've seen that. If you haven't, you should see it. It's like a movie on symbiotics, like symbolism. Uh, you know, um, uh, yeah. So I presented a paper on Da Vinci Code, the movie, and I didn't read the book because, as I said, it says a history movie and a book. I always watch the movie, but I wrote a academic paper on uh, performative nature of symbiotics and how uh, Da Vinci Code manipulates biblical imagery for literary purposes, to advance its plot, to advance its theme. So I talked about that, and it was for American Academy of Religion International Conference. I think it was in Greece, in Thessaloniki, where they had a conference. I went and presented there. I think it was in Thessaloniki. I presented conferences all over the world. And so one of my expertise is like cinema, literature, and so I published several articles on like movies, films. So I'm kind of like a film critic as well, I guess, at an academic level. Um, as you know, I am a executive board member of the Standing Committee on Global Citizenship, and that is part of National Council of Teachers of English. So I could become a professor of English in a university, obviously, a professor of creative writing. I'm a writer. I wrote books. I write books. I write short stories, novels, plays, poetry. So I could teach all that stuff at the college level, college students, obviously. Um, yeah, so I'm a writer and I'm also a literary critic. So I try to be versatile. As you know, I'm the Leonardo da Vinci of 21st century. Um, so yeah, but yes, I appreciate beauty. And in my opinion, there's nothing more beautiful than the woman's form, woman's body. I've seen the pyramids many, many times. I've seen the Eiffel Tower, many, many times. I've seen the Colosseum. I've seen everything in the world. And I would say there's nothing that compares to a female body, woman's body, beautiful woman's body. Just there isn't. And that's why, God created men and women, uh, as a final creation, Um, yeah, so I appreciate a woman's body, and I'm not married. I'm single. I'm hoping to marry one of the women who look like that. The screen there. Um, as I've shared with you, for 99% of the men, the most important thing about a woman is her physical beauty, right? Face, body. Obviously, you know that already because uh, poets write about women's physical beauty. They don't write about women's brain. You know what I'm saying? Or women's intelligence. Just because men see women um, as beauty, right? And that is the greatest value that men place on a woman. Uh, and I mean, you know, uh, when you go on vacation, what do you look for? Beautiful stuff, right? Eiffel Tower, Colosseum, things that you think are beautiful or interesting in a beautiful way. So you should not be so surprised that a lot of men are interested in the beauty of women. And for centuries, people wrote about beauty of women, right? Uh, writers, that's what writers write about. That's what inspires them the most, you know. And so it's biologically wired into to man around the world, regardless of what race, what background, what social class, what education level. Men are motivated by beauty of women. Um, you know, uh, that's why I encourage you to get married. From 18 to 24 at the height of your beauty, because after 26, it's all downhill for the women in terms of biological clock. Clock is ticking. I don't know if you saw the movie My Cousin Vinny. Melissa Tomei, she said my biological clock is ticking. That is so true. It's true for men and women, but men are superficial and they look for a women's body and physical beauty, you know. But women are not as superficial, so they don't mind guys who are not in shape. But men are not really like that. Men are superficial. Um, I thank God because I'm fat, overweight, but beautiful women seem to like me. So, you know, so I'm like, well, yeah, that's great. That women are not superficial, but men are superficial. And I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna be totally honest. I want women who are that physically beautiful. Body mass index BMI. You should check to see what your BMI is. It's very important. Um, and that's important to like 99% of the men, you know, maybe more. Um, yeah, how beautiful you are, how thin you are, it's very, very, very important to men. Like men lie to women because men don't want to, men don't want to hear it from women. Yep, 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 yep. So they lie like, oh yeah, honey, I care about your mind. Oh yeah, honey, I care about like your personality. But that's all lies. I'd rather have a woman with a horrible personality who's amazingly beautiful with a body like that and a face like that than a woman who is really, really nice and really, really fat. I just, yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna be honest with you because I don't know when you're gonna die. I don't know when I'm gonna die. COVID-19 is killing like 1,000 people per day in America. Well, today it's 543 because it's Sunday, and all the states don't always report on Sunday because there are some states with blue laws. You know what a blue law is? Blue law is like a law that says you should not work on Sunday, so you're supposed to close everything. So there are states where they close down everything on Sunday. So some of them, like, you know, uh, they report like later, after the sun goes down, or they report like early Monday morning. So Sundays, the figures are a little bit lopsided. Um, so I'm sure they're going to report like after midnight or whatever. You know, uh, Sundays, a lot of people do a lot of stuff with people, with their family, with their church, and then they submit a score like after midnight. And it's like, I'm not gonna wait until midnight to get all the death tallies. You know what I'm saying? So Yeah, but we're basically averaging 1,000 a day. So yeah, it's just a one fluke thing. I won't pay too much attention to it. Yeah. But yeah. So I don't know when I'm gonna die. I don't know when you're gonna die. Obviously, I'm a, yay! I'm working at Virginia Hospital Center. Yeah, I'm done at Georgetown. I finished clinical nurse leader program at Georgetown. It was 2-year intensive program, and 25 of us were pinned in May. Pin, 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 pin. Yay! We were pinned. 2020 CNL. 2020 CNL. Yay! We're pinned. Well, I mean, but as we say, old has gone and new has come. New cohort of clinical nurse leaders are starting out. Yes, cohort 2022. They are starting now in August. I mean, during the summer, they had the online pre-course, which is called pathophysiology, like preparatory course, and that goes from June to like August. So they just probably finished up that last week because every all the courses were over last Friday. So they're probably done with their pre-course last week Friday, and then they get like a week or 2 weeks off, and then they start their new uh, semester, which is like the official semester, because the summer course is like no credit course, so you don't get a grade, you don't get a credit. I mean, so it's just like a preparatory course. Um, and so, yeah, the new course, Clinical Nurse Leader 2022, ones who start in 2020 will end in 2022. Yeah, so they're starting out. I mean, some of them are probably like moving into Washington, D.C., Virginia, Maryland right now. Yeah, because some of them might have moved in June, but I doubt it because of COVID-19. But I'm sure some of them are, maybe all of them are moving into this area right now. I mean, it's like basically they have like 1 or 2 weeks, then they start, you know? So if they're moving in, some of them might have already moved into this area, like in August or July. Others will be moving in like right now until beginning of the new semester and the new academic year 2020 fall semester starts like August. I don't know the exact date, but it's like generally 1 or 2 weeks away. So it probably starts like August 20th or 21st, 22nd, 23rd. That week, the week of the August 20th, is when you have like orientation and stuff like that. And I think the courses probably officially start like, the following week. So like generally you have 1 week of orientation, barbecues and fun stuff. I gave a tour to new first year students during that week as the vice president of Georgetown graduate students government, all 9,000 of them. And I took like 35 people on a tour around Georgetown campus. Is that 1 week before classes? You have barbecues, you have tours provided by GradGov executive officers. Like as a vice president, I provided this tour. Uh, and you meet new people, you go out and have fun, you go dancing or whatever. So that's like the week of the August 20th or August 19th, that week. So not this week, oh, next week. So like next week, Monday will be the week when this kind of fun like orientation week starts. But unfortunately, because of COVID-19, Georgetown University campus is closed, so they don't have any activities. No barbecues, no campus tours, no picnics. I feel so bad for you guys, clinical nurse leader cohort 2022. You're missing out on all the fun. Oh my gosh, I loved my first year. I love the orientation week. I made so many great friends. So I feel so bad for you because you're not gonna. I mean, you may be able to make some friends from, Zoom or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I feel bad for you because I mean, 100% of the classes are online now. Yes, the orientation week starts next Monday. So tomorrow is the 10th. So the orientation week starts on the 17th, I believe. And I think that's the same for undergraduates too. So undergraduates and graduate students, the orientation week begins on August 17th. This week, August 10th, is supposed to be the orientation week for international students. Generally, international students arrive 1 week earlier. So August 10th, August 11th, August 12th, that's like international students orientation week. Uh, but most of the international students probably stayed back home. I mean, it's cheaper for them. So Georgetown University is actually doing them a favor because you could do Zoom from China or Russia or Germany or South Korea. You don't have to come physically to America to do it. And since it's 100% online class, they'll save on rent and food. You know, um, so you're helping, especially third world nations like African countries, India, students who have to borrow a lot of money to come for international study, and so you're helping them, with online classes. Their families don't have to sell their family farm. Um, so it's a good thing for international students in some ways, but some international students are like billionaires, obviously. And so they're probably bumming because they want to have fun, but you're not going to have fun because this COVID is here. But you won't die, and that's a trade-off, right? Have fun and die, you know what I'm saying? Um, yeah, so because in the flu season, a lot of people are going to die, and that's coming like in a few weeks. It will be like here, like before you know it, you know, where people start dropping dead like flies. Um, so I think Georgetown is definitely doing the right thing in closing campus down. Because once people start dying, I mean, geez, hospital will be full. George Washington Hospital will be full. Children's Hospital will be full. Georgetown Hospital will be full. Sibley Hospital will be full. MedStar Washington Hospital Center will be full, and people will be dying left and right. That's coming in a few weeks. Yeah. So I think that it's good that American University, George Washington University, Georgetown University kind of reduced the death load for the hospitals by closing campuses down. It's a big favor that they did for people. A lot of professors would have died. Staff members would have died. So, by closing campus down, they have saved a lot of lives. And I hope Catholic University of America will close the campus down as well. Howard University, because, when you bring students from like many places, you're just bringing COVID death to Washington, D.C., and that's not going to be good. A lot of people are going to die. Um, enjoy yourself where you are. Just be careful, social distance. Um, if you go with all your family members, none of whom has COVID, you could enjoy everything you want, right? It's a people-to-people transmission. So as long as you stay away from other people, you guys are fine. Your family's fine. Um, yeah. Um, During COVID-19 era, I would encourage people to get married early. Like if you're 18, you had a high school girlfriend, you've dated for 2-3 years, just marry her at 18. Because COVID-19 is here to stay. It's probably here forever. Whether there's a vaccine or not, I read an article today on that. So, you're not going to be able to talk to a lot of people. You're not going to be able to socialize with a lot of people. That's here for like years and years and years and years. So if you just graduate from high school, just get married. If you just graduate from college, just get married with your girlfriend from college or high school. Start your own family, then you socialize, have babies, socialize with your family members. That's the smart way to go. Because COVID-19 isn't going to go away. America is not going to return to normalcy. Even Europe, cases are going up. In every European country right now, cases are going up before flu season. When the flu season hits, you're going to see like millions of Europeans die. That's expected in a COVID-19 pandemic. Every healthcare expert expects this second wave, what they call the second wave, to kill millions. There isn't an healthcare expert who doesn't expect millions to die. Every healthcare expert expects millions to die. It's just a question of how many millions. It could be like 50 million, it could be 100 million, but every healthcare expert around the world expects millions to die. That's like, it's given. Um, yeah, so they may not be honest with you because they don't know if you could handle it, handle the truth. But I'm going to be honest with you because I believe that you're adult enough to handle it. Handle the possibility that there could be 100 million people dying in the world or more this winter alone in a few months. I believe you're adult enough to handle it. And I feel like I need to give you the truth, right? Because you may die this winter and you should have all the truth before you die, right? The truth will set you free. So this show, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to give you complete truth about everything because you deserve the truth before you die. You could die this winter, right? There are like 100,000 children right now infected with COVID. This is summer, so there's no flu. There's no really cold. Can you imagine if 100,000 children are infected with COVID in November when there's flu? They may all die. All 100,000 children may die. That's coming. I predict that thousands of children will die in America, maybe over 1 million children will die in America in this flu season. So hug your children tight at night, read the Bible with them, spend a lot of time with them because they may die before Christmas 2020. It's sad, but this is a global pandemic. It's not a joke. It's not like, I want you to have fun because I believe that many of you will die before Christmas. This is the last time you're going to have fun. That's why I say, don't let August go by because you're going to die. You may die before Christmas. Have fun. Not only that, when we hit like September and October, there's going to be nothing open. Restaurants will be closed, bars will be closed, bowling alleys will be closed, restaurants, movie theaters will be closed. Everything is closed. Even gyms are closed. You can't even go and exercise in gym and look at the beautiful women. Yeah, everything will be closed. Even YMCA is closed. Everything is closed. So the only time you're going to have fun is like in the summer. Once it starts getting cold, nothing will be open. And I encourage all of you to get a treadmill and an exercise bike for winter time because you're not going to have a gym to go to. You're not. It's not going to change. Things are not going to get better for you. It's only going to get worse. So get the exercise bike, get the treadmill, set it up in your apartment, set it up in your home. Because if you're a woman, you need a body like that. You got to maintain that body, COVID or no COVID. You know what I'm saying? Because men are superficial. It's biologically programmed. Men are biologically designed that way. So they can't help themselves. It's just that's who they are biologically. Women are more sophisticated than men. Women don't mind men who are fat. Thank God, because I am fat. I'm overweight. I'm not going to lie to you, but beautiful women like me. So I know that's why I don't have incentive to lose weight, which is bad. Beautiful women do not like me because I'm fat. I work hard to lose weight, but beautiful women like me, even though I'm fat. I don't understand why. but yeah, I'm not going to complain. And I hate jogging. I hate running. So I don't know why people run. There's no point to running. There's a car. Just drive the car. Why do you run? It's like waste of 1 hour. Running for 1 hour is like waste of time. That's how I see it. But I tried to get some exercise in because you should exercise minimum 30 minutes a day. So I tried to get some exercise in, but I hate running. I hate jogging. Oh my gosh. But yeah. So I blame Adam and Eve. If they didn't eat that fruit, I may be in a garden. I may not even have to exercise at all. But now that Adam got us kicked out of the garden. Well, Adam got himself and his wife kicked out, and all of us are descended from Adam. So all of us are not in the Garden of Eden. Now there's disease and illness and death, and that's why we have to jog. I hate jogging. But anyway, you do need to get exercise in at least 30 minutes. So get like an exercise bike or a treadmill for, or both, for your home or apartment, because you do need to get exercise for your heart. You don't want to die of heart attack, right? So you need to get some exercise in. If you're a woman, you need to stay thin until you get married. It's very, very important. So if you're not thin, you need to lose weight. Because I'm not lying to you. I don't know what your dad told you or what I don't know what your male friends told you. But they're lying if they say, oh, don't worry about not getting thinner. Yeah, they're lying to you. They're not really your friends, because if you want to be truly happy, you have to be thin and beautiful like that, because men are superficial. They go after women that look good. That's how men are. I mean, just men are superficial. Doesn't matter if you're like a pastor or elder or deacon, doesn't matter. Because, we're all sinners in the eyes of God. And we, look at it. David. David was a man after his own heart, God's heart. He loved Jesus. He was considered a great believer. But, look at what he did with Bathsheba. He had an adultery. I'm not saying that's good. You should not have adultery. But great Christians have adultery all the time. I know story after story of pastors having adultery, elders having adultery. You should not have adultery, obviously. You should not. But I'm just pointing out that people are sinful. They're tempted by beauty, and looking is fine, but you're only supposed to have sex with your wife. But some people fall. So because they're sinners, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm just pointing out that physical beauty is very important. And you women have to keep your husband with a tight leash. All men are like dogs, and if you let them loose, they're going to be sniffing around. Yeah, doesn't matter if the guy's 90 years old, he wants a woman who looks like that. That's how men are. That's how men are. You gotta face the truth. I'm not going to lie to you. I know you've heard a lot of lies from society, a lot of lies from men. Maybe even your husband lies to you even now. I'm going to tell you the truth. That's how it is. 90-year-old men want women with bodies like that. Yes, that's how men are. Yeah. Anyhow, yeah. So you're maintaining a physical body like that is very important. Put some makeup on. Practice putting makeup on so it doesn't look like you've plastered your face. That's important. Yeah, I mean, because at the end of the day, you gotta secure your own happiness. Good Christian men will marry women who look good. They'll talk about, oh, I care about women's faith, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, they're gonna marry a woman who's beautiful. Yeah, I mean, obviously you should marry a woman with great faith, but if a man has to choose between faith and a beautiful body, 90% of Christian men will choose a woman with a nice body over women with better faith. Maybe over 95, maybe higher than that. I'm just telling the truth. I'm not going to lie to you because you deserve to know the truth, especially if you're a woman who's 18, 19, and you're a little bit pudgy. 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 I don't know if you know the term pudgy. Pudgy means you're not fat, but you're kind of pudgy, a little bit, you have some meat in your bones, as your grandmother may say. But they're not meat, they're actually fat. Yeah, pudgy. Yeah, so remember, women are not like men. Women get fat around the thighs and butt before they get fat around the waist. By the time a woman is fat around the waist, she's grossly overweight. What you need to do is look at your butt in the mirror if you're a woman and your thigh in the mirror. What I would do is I would actually get one of those soft rulers and measure your butt area and measure your thigh area, record it, and measure it every day. Because if your butt measurement and thigh measurement are getting bigger, that means you're getting fat. Because women get fat first in your butt and thigh. So you may not notice it, but men notice. Yeah, men are superficial. Yeah, they are. Men are superficial. Um, and I assure you, when you start gaining even 5, 10 pounds, it goes to your butt and your thigh. You're gonna be not proportional. You know how these beautiful women on the screen are proportional because they're lean. You know, their body mass index (BMI) is like thin, right? But once you start getting some fat on your thigh, you know, you look like hourglass. You know, like your hip starts expanding, your thighs start expanding. You know, it's not a pretty sight, really. I don't want to be so mean about it, and I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm just telling you what 95% of the men or more are thinking when they see women with fatter thighs. So don't just look at your stomach, because yeah, men get fat first in their stomach, but women, they get it first in their thigh and their butt. That's where yeah. Like I was like driving by like a week ago. Then there was a woman like I guess walking with like summer clothing, and she was kind of thin on the top of her body, but her hip was, you could tell she's probably gained 10 pounds during COVID-19. Her hip and thigh were kind of wide. I don't know if she notices because her belly is still kind of thin. You know, her top body is kind of thin. As I said, women get fat first in their butt and hip, thigh area. That's why you should measure that area and just measure it every day. Weigh yourself every day. Measure your hip and thigh every day. You know, like you have one of those rulers, soft rulers. Put it around your waist. Put it around. Waist is not the first to go. Put it around your hip. Circle it around your hip. Circle it around your thigh, both thighs. Write the measurement down in a notebook. Keep a recording every day. I mean, this is like, I'm trying to look out for your happiness here. I care about you. I care that you are happy because I can't marry all of you. I can only marry one of you, but I want all of you to be happy. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm just giving you advice, because that's very important to guys. That's very, very important to guys, most of guys, 99% of the guys. And those who say it's not important, they're lying to you. Yeah, so don't believe it. Yeah, so make sure you measure yourself because that's very, very important. Yeah, look at all these beautiful women. They're all thin. But when they hit 26, that's going to start going. Yeah. Biological clock ticks. After 26, it's all downhill from there. Yeah, all downhill from 26. So if you're a woman, make sure you get yourself married between 18 to 24. Absolutely, that's when you gotta get married. 18 to 24. If you don't get married by 24, there's high chance you're not gonna get married. Men are superficial. They get grossed out by like fat thighs. No, I'm serious. So that alone can turn them off. Yeah, that's like yeah. Men are like really superficial. Really, really, really superficial. Yeah, so I have to tell you the truth because there are like so many lies out there in the world. And part of the reason there are so many lies is your fault. There are all these feminazis in the world trying to shut up the men from telling the truth. So men like just lie on screen, even good men, because they're afraid the feminazis will go after them. You see, you muzzle people and you think you're going to be happy. No, because you need to know the truth, right? You need to know the truth of how men think. So you just force the men to shut up because you're offended by what they say. You're not going to know the truth. So you're like flying blind as a bat in a black cave that has no light or twinkle in it, and you're crashing into every wall in the cave. Have you been to Luverne caves without a light? I mean, they're poking things there. You get poked by little things from the sky, within the cave, those ice crystals and the sharp stones. You'll be like bleeding by the time you fly out of there if you're blind as a bat. Yeah. So all I'm saying is I'm trying to secure your happiness by telling you the truth, right? Because feminazis are not your friend. Feminazis tell you lies. Feminazis try to shut up men because they're like, ooh, we're offended by men. Ooh, we're offended by men. I mean, how are you going to be happy with men if you don't know how men think, truthfully? Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see how stupid it is to shut people up? Like, because you're not going to know the truth. And only truth will set you free. So who suffers? When feminazis shut up men because they're offended by what men say, who suffers? You suffer. 49% of America were women, or maybe more than that. You suffer because you don't know what men are thinking. Because feminazis are shutting up men because, oh, you're offensive. Oh, you're offensive. You're never going to find your happiness because you're munching away on that bonbons and you're eating that ice cream. You're having that cheeseburger with chili fries, and that's going to your hips. And men are being grossed out by your thigh, and you don't know that. I mean, you have a chance not to have thunder thighs, but because all these feminazis shut men up, you think it's okay. You think men are going to love you for you. What is you? What is you, really? And the woman's version of what you are is like, oh, what I am is my personality. You know how women think. Men don't think like that. What you are is your body. And that's actually more honest because who really knows what you are inside? Really, we're not God. Men are not God. They can't see your heart, right? And you change the way you act around men you like, right? So the way you act is not always exactly what you are anyway, right? You present yourself differently to men you like, right? So who are you, right? So the most honest version of who you are is what men see, right? That is the most truthful version of who you are because five senses, what you smell, what you see, what you touch, what you hear, these are the reality, right? What's inside your heart, your personality, you cannot sense it with your five senses. You cannot verify anything. Yeah. So when you try to shut men up because you think that they're offensive, you are creating unhappiness for yourself. And you're damning the next generation, Generation Z, to unhappiness. Because let's say you're a girl, 18-year-old. You have the chance to jog, to exercise bike, treadmill at home, and get down to like 120 pounds or 115 pounds. Maintain that by not munching on bonbons and chili fries and ice cream, chocolate, and she has a chance of finding happiness, marrying the guys that she loves. Because all guys are superficial, 99.9%. It doesn't matter if the guy's a super duper Christian. It doesn't matter if guy. You think like Christian pastors want to marry fat, ugly women? What do you think? I mean, geez, it's not like Christian pastors are not human beings, right? It doesn't matter if you're super duper Christian. We're living in a world of sin. Everybody's a sinner, right? And even if you did not have sin, Adam wanted beauty and Eve, geez, it's like it predates sin. Men's desire for a physical beauty predates sin. So it's not sin that's causing men to lust after beautiful women. Men lusted after beautiful women before sin. That's just the way men are. That's how God created Adam from the very beginning. So even if no sin entered, men would desire beautiful bodies and beautiful faces. But if sin did not enter the world, then no woman would be fat. But unfortunately, sin entered the world. So you get it in the thigh, you get thunder thighs. Thunder thighs, yes. Thunder thighs is not as bad as cottage cheese. Oh my gosh, have you seen cottage cheese? Cheese, it's like, your thighs get really fat and it looks like cottage cheese. Oh my gosh. I mean, you buy some cottage cheese and like compare your thigh and see, I'm telling you, if you gain enough weight down there in the thigh, it'll look like similar. Yeah. Yeah. Cottage cheese, yeah, that's coming. After 26, cottage cheese is coming. Cottage cheese is coming for you. Yeah. Yeah, I want you to be happy. So marry between 18 to 24. if you are within that range, right? Because if you don't get married at 24, you may never get married. I'm telling you, guys are superficial. Guys can always find women who are 18 to 24. So if you miss that boat, you may never get married. I'm telling you, we're talking about your lifetime of happiness here. So priority number one, to get married between 18 to 24, because you missed the boat 18 to 24, you may never get married. You may become a spinster, like you may be like at 40 and not married because you missed the boat in 18 to 24. That's the most important time period for marriage. If you miss the boat there, there's a high chance you're not going to get married. You know, because number one, you're going to start gaining weight. Biologically, that's what happens. Your metabolism slows. You are like 120 pounds when you're 18. By the time you're 26, you're like 160, 170. Because your body cannot keep up with the metabolism. You know, the metabolism used to be very fast when you're 18, but by the time you're 26, it's slow, and you're gaining weight even though you eat exact same food. Yes, that's what happens. You can eat exact same food. You didn't increase food by any amount, but you're gaining weight because you're over 26 years old. Yes, this happens to you. It's called slowing metabolism. Yeah, there's like a biological term for it. I'm looking out for your happiness here, okay? I want you to get married, have beautiful children, you know, have a happy family, and live like 70 years with the man you married at age 22, and see your grandchildren. And I want you to be happy. That's why I'm telling you all this truth. Because if you don't know the truth, you won't know how to make yourself happy, right? You'll miss the boat. Yeah, so you should thank me for this show because I give you the truth that feminazis are trying to suppress. Every time when people are trying to suppress the truth, that should raise red flags. It doesn't matter who's doing it. You know, if President Trump is trying to suppress red flags, that should raise red flags on you too. You know, I'm fair. Like truth is truth. Truth is important. Whether President Trump tried to suppress the truth, feminazis try to suppress the truth, whoever is suppressing the truth is not your friend. I'm not saying President Trump is suppressing the truth. You know, I think President Trump is an honest guy. You know, some people say I'm naive to think that. I don't think so. I voted for him in 2016. As long as President Trump opposes LGBTQ plus, I vote for him, and I'll encourage others to vote for him. But I think President Trump is honest. I think he's not a scientist. He's a businessman. So he looks at the world through a businessman's eyes. And that's why he says things that are inaccurate about COVID-19. He's not a scientist. He's not a doctor. So I don't, you know, whenever he says things that are not totally accurate about COVID-19, you know, I take it with a grain of salt because, you know, you can't blame a businessman for not getting it right on biology and healthcare, right? It's not like he's a doctor. You know, like if Ralph Northam, who's a medical doctor, gets it wrong, then I say we have the right to blame him because he's actually an expert in healthcare. So if he gets it wrong, you know, we should blame Ralph or Northam because he's a doctor. But President Trump is like a businessman, so you gotta cut him some slack. You know, he's trying his best. You know, this COVID-19 is completely foreign to him. You know, can you imagine, you know, being the president, you know, and you're trying to wade through this COVID-19 and you're not a doctor or nurse or healthcare person and you don't know what the heck this thing is? I mean, you know, President Trump has done quite good so far, I would say, you know, given the fact that, you know, he doesn't know anything about science or healthcare, really. I mean, he doesn't have a company that's a healthcare company, right? He's in what, hotel business and golfing, right? So it's like really far from healthcare. So you can't blame him when he doesn't get it right. I think he's being honest. So I don't think President Trump is trying to suppress the truth at all. It's just that his way of looking at the world clashes with the way that healthcare workers look at the world. You know, it's just, you know, business people are, you know, they don't look at the world the same way as healthcare workers, you know? Because healthcare workers are, well, human life first, human safety first, you know? But businessmen, they take risks, you know? And, you know, they don't really think seriously about it. You know, President Trump took risks too. He's not, like, he used to not wear masks and stuff like that. I was like worried for him. Because, you know, he honestly doesn't think there's serious problem, because he's a businessman. You gotta understand that, understand President Trump and where he is. He can't see the world through the same lens that doctors and nurses can see the world through. You can't really blame him for it, but hopefully he doesn't make too many mistakes because, we don't want too many people to die. So that is something that I am concerned about because we have 100,000 children who got infected with COVID-19 in the last few weeks after schools opened up. Yeah, and all of them can die in flu season. Probably President Trump doesn't believe that they can. I mean, I'm saying he's honestly believing that they won't die. But that's the difference. I'm a nurse. I've been trained at Georgetown University School of Nursing and Health Studies in a 2-year master's program, clinical nurse leader program. So I know that all 100,000 people who are infected with COVID could die in the flu season. Because that's science. There's a possibility that that could happen scientifically. But President Trump is not a scientist. You know what I'm saying? So he doesn't really know all the data, how the body works. That's like foreign to him. He knows business. I'm sure he could tell you tons of stuff about business. So yeah. So cut President Trump some slack. Because he's not going to be perfect on healthcare. But he's done well managing COVID so far. But I say President Trump is completely mistaken. You cannot open up schools safely. You cannot open up colleges safely right now. There's expected to be over 100 million people who could die this winter, and 25% of all death is in America. So if however millions die, 25% will be in America. You gotta expect that. Yeah, so I am worried. I have to say, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I am worried about America. I believe that millions will die in America this winter. And I think most healthcare workers expect that, looking at the numbers of infections. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, look at this. Even today we had like over 50,000 people getting infected, right? Is it around 50,000? 50 to 70,000 people get infected every day. This is summer, during flu season, all of them can die. Yeah, so we have 5,044,769 people infected so far in America, and we have 162,938 dead. Yeah, a lot of Americans are going to die. That number is going to go like millions. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if like 5 million Americans die before March. I wouldn't be surprised. Obviously, I don't want that, but it can happen. Because we didn't plan the curve. Curve is not flat. So going into the flu season, you should expect millions of Americans to die because the curve is not flat. So the baseline is not zero. Even if it's zero, we could have 1 million people die. The baseline is not zero right now. Baseline is like millions. So yeah, I mean, you should expect 1 million people to die. I mean, you don't want millions of people to die, but by rules of science, most likely that's going to happen. Ask Dr. Fauci if he doesn't think so. It can happen. Yeah, but what's happening in America is not happening everywhere around the world. And Africa is a good illustration of that. Look at the top 5 in Africa. 559,859 cases in South Africa. It's a big country. Numbers are only what? They're probably like less than, almost around Florida, right? Or even less than Florida. And their death rate is what? 10,408, right? I mean, geez, that's like California numbers. 2% of the people are dying. So yeah, I mean, but it's number 1. Egypt, look at Egypt, 95,492. That's it. They're dying at 5% rate, but 5,009. That's like 5 days for us. Nigeria, it's like a country of 100 million people. But look at the numbers. 46,577 people got infected. You're telling me that, like, yeah, I mean, you think that Nigeria's healthcare system is better than American healthcare system? Yeah. There are several reasons why we're dying in large numbers. They say over 60% of America's fat. And whenever you get sick, whether it's flu, cold, strep throat, pneumonia, COVID-19, whenever you get sick, if you're fat, there's higher chance you're going to die. Just one of that's one of the things. Second thing is they say like marijuana, cigarette smoking, these things make your body system, immune system weaker, so you have higher chance of dying. So like a lot of people are doing marijuana in America or smoking, so that raises the death rate. Whereas in like Africa, you know, in some countries there's mandatory death penalty for marijuana. So you know, people are not doing marijuana, so they have higher chance of living. You know, because marijuana ruins your body. Obviously, you're stuffing foreign substance, you're smoking it into your body, right? It alters your body, right? You feel different when you smoke marijuana. I've never smoked marijuana, but from what I understand, it makes you feel different, and you know, your body is impacted physically. So obviously, when your body is impacted physically in some way, that alters normal functioning in your body. Your body is compromised. So it makes sense that people who do pot have higher chance of dying from COVID. You know, it makes sense. You know, same with smoking, right? If you smoke, it compromises your body system. So it makes sense that you have higher chance of dying from COVID. Yeah. So it makes sense, you know. Yeah. Ghana is 41,003 cases. Look at the death rate. 215, and Nigeria is 945. Jeez. You know, because they're thinner, right? They're thinner, and they don't do pot. It's just healthier, right? So that's one explanation. There are a lot of explanations. One explanation is all those countries in South Africa, like Nigeria, Ghana, uh, you know, they're against homosexuality, so they legalize it. You know, socially they shun homosexuals, so they follow God's law. You know, Nigeria is 50% Muslim, 50% Christian. Both Muslims and Christians are avidly against homosexuality. So God blesses Nigeria. So they only have 945 deaths. Same with Ghana. Ghana is a very, you know, like whether you're Muslim or Christian, they oppose homosexuality, follow 10 Commandments, Romans 1 position on homosexuality. They align themselves with Romans 1 position. So they only have 215 deaths. I mean, it's like what? Ghana's a pretty decent sized country. Their total death from November to now is less than 543. So there's a spiritual explanation along with physical explanation, you see. Algeria has 35,160 cases. Their death is 1,302. That's what, 1 day, 2 days in America. So God's being very generous with Africa. Yeah. Yeah, today is a National Book Lovers Day, so I wanted to kind of share my books with you. I've shared some of these books before. So Bat Yam is a fiction novel based on my living in Israel for 3 years. I lived in Israel for 3 years, more than 3 years, and I took Hebrew Alpan classes, which are intensive Hebrew classes. So I'm fluent in Hebrew, modern Hebrew, a language that they speak in Israel. That was created out of a dead language, or language that you read the Bible from. They revived it and they created a new speaking language from scratch. It hasn't been spoken in Israel for 2,000 years, right? Because Jews were scattered in 70 AD when Romans went into Jerusalem, destroyed the Jerusalem temple and destroyed the whole country and kicked all the Jews out of Israel, like Jerusalem. So the language of Hebrew wasn't spoken for like 2,000 years. They created it out of scratch. Um, you know, in the 1900s, basically. And so, yeah, but I learned it. That's the official language in Israel. I speak it with them. So I wrote a book, novel based on my experiences there. I think you'll enjoy reading it. Obviously, you could buy it from Barnes and Noble or Amazon.com or Books a Million. Any bookstore you could order it. Bat Yam, Heerak Christian Kim. Yeah, so I hope you read it. Let me know what you think if you do read it. And Jewish and Indian and other stories. It's fiction as well. It's a collection of short stories, and it's entertaining, but it also kind of examines concept of Jewish identity from a fictional angle. As you know, I'm an expert of Jewish studies, Jewish history. I just got this journal um, from uh, from from Association for Jewish Studies, which is a professional organization for Jewish studies that I belong to. I've been a member for over a decade. As you know, I'm an expert of Jewish studies. So, uh, yeah, I mean, you can see that this AJS perspective is um, yeah. So it's basically um, you know uh, Association for Jewish Studies perspectives, um, and yeah. So I get this like every time it's published. Um, yeah, and this issue is like hate issue. So it kind of talks about anti-Semitism. I told you I'm an expert of anti-Semitism, right? Because I'm an expert of Jewish studies. So this whole issue is kind of dedicated to concept of hate. Um, yeah. So yeah, it's yeah. But yeah, so again, I'm actively involved with Association for Jewish Studies. I'm an important expert of Jewish studies globally. And this, you know, um, last week was supposed to be European Association of Biblical Studies conference at University of Wuppertal in Germany. I would have presented a paper on that. But I mean, it was canceled because of COVID-19. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's what can you do? COVID-19 is here to stay, but it is enjoy your National Book Lovers Day. So check out my book and read my short stories. I think you'll like it, especially if you're Jewish and you're questioning or you're wondering what other Jewish identities exist out there, and you haven't really studied it or thought about it. Reading this book, you'll see different types of Jewish identities, um, which you may find interesting. But even if you're non-Jewish, it's kind of interesting from an intellectual angle. So I think you'll enjoy reading my book, Jewish and Indian and Other Stories. So you can order that from Amazon or Barnes and Noble, Books a Million, any bookstore. You can order it through them if you want. Obviously, Amazon and Barnes and Noble, you can order it and it comes directly to your home. Yeah, it's probably easier that way. But yeah, and the book next to it is nonfiction. Key signifier as literary device. I created a literary device called key signifier, and it is a double trigger mechanism. The first trigger triggers your collective memory. Second trigger triggers you to act in a certain way. Uh, Read my book. Key signifier as a literary device to understand what the double trigger mechanism is. I'm currently working on a follow-up sequel to that book, from an academic angle. It's an academic book. So I presented my paper on the new literary device I created. And then I published the book 1 year after I presented the paper at an international conference in Singapore. Yeah, so I've been working on the sequel, and it's a key signifier is a literary device like simile, metaphor, synecdoche, onomatopoeia. It's a literary device. So you could use it in poetry. You could use it in short fiction writing. You could even use it in speech writing because if you're a political speech writer, you use like metaphor, right, simile, to make the speech more effective. Um, if you're a talk show host, you can use this as well. If you're a journalist, obviously you're using all kinds of metaphor and literary devices. Anybody who writes uses literary device. So I recommend you read my book and understand my new literary device because it may help you to be a better poet, better writer, better journalist, better talk show host, better politician, better speechwriter, right? So, yeah. So, read it and find out. Obviously, I love beautiful women. I'm not married. I want to marry a woman who looks like that by God's grace. So I'm praying for that. But yeah, you should pray for everything. God is my father. I'm going to tell him what I want in a woman. I'm not going to lie to God. I'm not going to lie to you because I don't know when you're going to die. I don't know when I'm going to die. I'm not going to lie. COVID-19 America is not the time you should lie. You shouldn't lie to your children. You shouldn't lie to your wife. You shouldn't lie to your parents because you're going to die maybe before Christmas, or they're going to die. So why are you going to lie? There's no point, you know? Honesty is the best policy normally, but especially in COVID-19, there's no point to lying. You don't know when you're going to die. So, yeah, be honest, be truthful, be lovers of truth. Yeah, tell the people that you love them. There's no point lying because you don't know when you're going to die, right? Yeah. If you love somebody, tell them you love them. If you want somebody, tell them you want them. Um, yeah. And Christmas is coming. Don't you love Ducky? Yeah. I love Ducky, you know. So Christmas is coming soon. You're going to be putting up Christmas tree, but some of you may not survive until Christmas. You may die before Christmas. So that's coming, I think about my clinical nurse leaders. We went through trial by fire for 2 years, and you know what I mean. Clinical nurse leaders who are watching right now, you know what I mean. Because everybody watches this show, so I'm sure everyone or most of my cohort, clinical nurse leader cohort 2020, are watching this show right now. You know what I mean when I say we went through trial by fire. The new cohort 2020 is coming in. They're going to start their new semester basically in a week. This is our vacation period. Like last summer when we had our last exam, last day of classes, we have vacation for 1 or 2 weeks, So this is our vacation period because our last day of class was on Friday, right? Technically, if we graduated, so it's a little different. But if we were in school, then this would be our vacation period. This is like 1 week you go down to beach and just like do nothing but have fun. It's this week. Yeah, so the new cohort 2022, CNL 2022 cohort is coming in. And those of you who graduate from college or are sitting around at home, I say apply to clinical nurse leader program, and I think deadline is like November. Apply and get in. You'll be cohort 2023. Cohort COVID-19 will still be here, according to healthcare experts. It's here to stay. So they're doing like clinicals online, and Georgetown University is very good. Professor Schloss, she was in charge with our summer clinicals, and she was amazing. And she teamed up with Professor Yearwood, and they did a really great job providing with a great clinical experience overall. They organized everything. We had like individual clinical instructors that were all great. Yeah, so COVID is here to stay. And nursing schools, nursing programs, board of nursing, they're all adapting to the situation. Obviously, we're at the front lines. Nurses are at the front lines of any pandemic. So nurses have to adapt. I mean, if we can adapt, how do we expect other people to adapt, right? So obviously, nursing schools will be the best at adapting to a pandemic because we're the ones who are saving you from pandemic, right? So you should be surprised that nursing programs are adapting really well and quickly to COVID, far quicker than any other program. So yeah, apply the clinical nurse leader program at Georgetown. You may have 2 years of 100% online clinical. It may happen that way, but I assure you, you will get the training and uh, the practice and clinical that you need to be a great nurse in the future, given that we have COVID-19, right? We're not living in normal times here. There may be a vaccine, there may not be a vaccine, uh, and COVID-19 may be forever, and people will drop dead at the rate of 1,000 to 10,000 per day, even in summer, and that could continue for years and years. So I mean, that's the reality we live in. So don't wait and say, oh, I'm going to apply, wait until next November, 2021 November to apply when COVID is done, because it's not going to be done. So just apply this fall to Georgetown University Clinical Nurse Leader Program because, yes, we have COVID, and we probably will have COVID for years and years, for decades maybe forever. So there's no point waiting because it's not going to be gone. There are not any scientific experts who are saying this will be gone by 2021. There's not a single person who's saying that. So you're waiting 1 year is pointless, meaningless. Just get started now. Maybe this is the best time to start a clinical nurse leader program at Georgetown because what are you going to do now? You graduate from George Mason University. You have no job. There's going to be no job created this fall. There's going to be no job created next spring. There's going to be no job created next fall, 2021 fall. You're going to be unemployed from now to 2021. Only job that's really out there now is what? You join the U.S. military, Army, go Army, U.S. Marines, Air Force, Navy. Those you can enlist. If you have a bachelor's, you may be able to go to the officers academy. You could join the police department, work there. You could join a fire department. What else is there? Really, there really isn't. You could become a bus driver because we need transportation. You could go work in a meat packing industry. Obviously, we need that. You could go to like farm areas and do farm work. Yeah, those jobs are open. Um, you could be a cashier in a grocery store, or you can work in a warehouse stocking food and stuff like that. That's open. Amazon warehouses are open, so you could do that. But you could do some construction work if it's hard work, but yeah, that's open. But there really aren't going to be many jobs that are going to be created. A lot of jobs are going to be destroyed in the coming years. Small companies will go bankrupt. Medium companies will go bankrupt. Large companies will go bankrupt. American economy, will get worse and worse. And that's what can you do? It's a pandemic, you know. It's not like just because you don't want that to happen, it's not like it's not going to happen. No, as Dr. Fauci has said, virus sets the timeline. Virus sets the timeline. It's not. What do you try to control COVID? You can't even see the thing. Now, every time you breathe, you could be breathing it in. If you have COVID, every time you breathe, you can be infecting people. So it's you. It's not like an enemy outside. It's like everywhere, right? So yeah, there's no way you could defeat it, really. I mean, we may have a vaccine, we may not, but it's there. It's here forever. Insofar as we know, as far as we know, it's here forever. It's 365 days a year. It's not going to go away. So that's why I'm encouraging you to apply for Georgetown CNL program for November. If you have a bachelor's, if you don't have a job, you are not lucky enough to have a boyfriend in college, you can marry now. If you had a boyfriend in college, just get married. You can still apply for clinical nurse leader program. Because married people study all the time. I mean, we have people who are married in our program. We had Maggie. She got married this year. She's, she's pretty. She's beautiful. She's smart. And, the guy couldn't wait for her to graduate. I mean, I can understand because she's very attractive. Um, yeah, I mean, so he and she got married like middle of the program. So yeah, don't let work or study take away your love. I mean, geez, you can always find another job. You can always find another school. You cannot find another guy that you're in love with. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, don't be stupid. Yeah, the most important thing is love, and getting married and having your children and family. That's the most important thing. You could always study, you could slow down your studying, but your biological clock is ticking. After 26, it's all downhill from there. You can't change that. You're not God. So that's one thing you cannot change. You can't change your graduate program. You could change your school. You could change your job, but you cannot change your body deteriorating. 100% guaranteed deterioration after 26. You cannot change that if you're a woman. I mean, for a man too, but women seem to not mind men's body deteriorating. Men mind, 99.9% of men. Yeah. So I want you to be happy. So I really like Georgetown University Clinical Nurse Leader Program. Professor Yerudu is great. Professor Schloss is great, and they're like the guiding lights. Well, they were the guiding lights from our program. Like this summer, they teamed up and led the practical. They did it really well. So I imagine that they will be guiding lights for next cohort after that, cohort 2021, cohort 2022, and those of you who apply this fall, November, cohort 2023. So I would encourage you to apply, especially if you are near here, because you don't have to move anywhere, right? You're already in Virginia's 8th district, Virginia's 9th district, Virginia's 11th district. You're in Arlington, Alexandria, Falls Church, or Fairfax County. You're at home. Yeah, apply to Georgetown Clinical Nurse Leader Program. Why not? If you get in, you'll be very lucky, right? Fortunate. So apply. I mean, I would apply now. Just don't wait around. I mean, even if you get married with the college boyfriend that you had, you could live in your new home or apartment, or you could live with your parents. Whatever you do, you can still start a program. I mean, yeah. Yes, I encourage you to apply. It's a good program. And in 2 years you'll have the training to go out there and like help people. Yeah, and yeah, you do have to take out $100,000 loan per year. I've took out $200,000 loan, but it's worth it because it's like #1 program in the country for clinical nurse leader program. It's worth taking out the $200,000 loan. Yeah, I mean, you can pay it off, once you start working. So I wouldn't worry about that. I would say go ahead and apply. Yeah, but yeah, the cohort 2022. I guess they just finished their pathophysiology class last week. They have 1 week off, and then or maybe week and a half, and then they're going to start their brand new official fall semester, which is great. And I wonder what Professor Yearwood and Professor Schloss are thinking, because they're like Professor Schloss teaches the first course on leadership or fundamental nursing. That's like the basic first level nursing class at Georgetown, fundamentals. So Professor Schloss will be teaching core 2022 that are starting out. And I guess they'll start out in August. And generally, they have like orientation meeting in the last week of August or third week of August. I guess it's the third week of August because yeah, it's either third week or fourth week, but they have like orientation. And so, yeah, that's coming. So I'm sure Professor Schloss is preparing for that because she teaches the fundamentals class. Professor Metzger, Shana Metzger, she teaches the advanced health assessment class. So she's probably getting prepared for that. She used to drive all the way from like Annapolis, Maryland. to teach that class. So, and she and her husband was in the U.S. Marines. They had a little baby. Um, yeah, don't let your life pass by. If you had a boyfriend in college, marry him, get him to marry you, and start a family. Don't wait on family making, on love. That's stupid. But Professor Shanna Metzger had a baby, and yeah, she teaches advanced health assessment. Um, yeah, those are the two major classes, and then pathophysiology. Yeah, that's the scary class. That's the scary class. Yeah, but yeah, so yeah, I wonder who's teaching that this year. Maybe Professor Melissa King Jacobs is teaching that. I don't know. I don't know who's teaching it to the cohort 2022, but yeah, that's a nightmare class. But yeah, but I mean, looking back, I can't say it was enjoyable. It was painful. I'm sure every single one of the 25 core members are saying pathophysiology was painful. Yeah, I can't imagine anybody saying it was fun. I don't remember a single person that said it was fun. Everybody said it was like hell. So yeah, but yeah, um, yeah. So I mean, yeah, I was like pin, yay, we're pinning May, and our last class was on Friday, yay, we're finished, CNL, we're finished. Yay, we're now alumni. So yeah, I mean, so we're in the class that's leaving, and then the cohort 2020, they're coming in. This is a period of transition. I bet all the professors are excited because there's a transition into the new cohort now, and they have a cohort that's like midway through. So I'm sure they're like really worried about what to do because it's like this whole academic year is going to be online, you know. So they have to redesign everything, the whole, 2000 fall semester 2020 will be online. Fall semester 2020, spring semester 2021 will be online. So they have to figure out how they're going to do advanced health assessment. They're going to have to figure out how to do fundamentals, nursing, clinical. So I'm sure Professor Schloss, is trying to work that out. Yeah, I mean, this year is going to be, because this is the first year that they have to do everything online. Fall semester, spring semester. Professor Yearwood, I feel bad for Professor Yearwood. Can you imagine the stress? I mean, geez, she's the chairwoman of the Department of Nursing. She has to figure out how to do, oh my gosh. I feel bad for Professor Yearwood because she's a chairwoman, right? So there's a Bachelor's of Science of Nursing that's a 4-year program. She has to figure out what to do with all 4 years. First year students, second year students, third year students, and fourth year students. Georgetown is 100% online. So she has to figure out what she has to do. Like every professor has to figure it out, but they're all probably like stressed now. And some of them are probably like entering major depression because they don't know what to do. Because think about it, like this hit them like, a rock. They have to redesign the whole program. So this is probably the most stressful time for them because originally the campus was going to open for first year students. So they probably were counting on that to open. And then they just announced like a week ago that it's going to close. So now they have to completely redesign the fall semester program, like every professor. And they were going to open some courses like second year, third year, fourth year courses. So they were probably counting on the campus being open for them. But now everything is closed. And it's not safe to have students really physically meeting because they could get COVID and die. So they have to completely redesign every course for fall semester. Every single professor. Professor Shanna Metzger, Professor Schloss, that not just in just the, because Professor Schloss teaches undergraduate classes too. Professor Elizabeth Schloss. And Professor Idioma Yearwood, the chairman of the department, teaches graduate students and undergraduates mental health nursing. So she has to redesign all of that as well. I mean, geez, can you imagine what they have to do? This like month of August will be the most stressful year for professors in nursing. Because like in other classes, like English department, history department, they just, professors could teach whatever they teach just online, right? So they have the same material, they're just teaching it online. But nursing is not like that because like some courses, you could just kind of, it's lecture based. Like pathophysiology is just lecture based. So that could go online without too much problem. But like fundamentals nursing, advanced health assessment, you can't do this. I mean, you can do this online, but you have to figure out how to do it online because generally it's physically done in person, right? So Professor Schloss has to come up with virtual sims for everything, right? Probably for not just this semester, but also next semester, whichever class she's teaching next semester. Same with Professor Shanna Metzger. She has to work with like her clinical instructors. So they have to get all of that done in August. So there's no vacation for them. Like this will be the most stressful 1 month for all the nursing professors at Georgetown University. It's not going to be living hell for them. Because they have to redesign everything. Not only do they have to redesign everything, they have to call a board of nursing in DC and board of nursing maybe in Virginia and Maryland and coordinate with them on how to do this thing. So it's not like they're just designing a program for students. I mean, nursing is not like history or English. Like you redesign history or English class, you don't have to talk to anybody. You just redesign it. One professor could redesign it, and as long and the chairman of the department will sign off on it. But nursing is not like that. You have a regulatory body called Board of Nursing. So Board of Nursing in DC and Board of Nursing in Virginia, Board of Nursing in Maryland, they have to figure out what to do because they're filled with a lot of headaches too because hospitals are filling up. They don't know. They have to regulate RN nurses. They have to regulate nurse practitioners. They have to regulate nurse anesthetists. They have to regulate how nurse anesthetists are supposed to function in COVID-19 era and what they have to do if things get bad. They have to redesign their whole way of approaching professional nurses because they're regulating body. So can you imagine the headache that they have to deal with? Trying to adapt to the new COVID reality because, yeah, I mean, we're at the front lines here, nurses, right? Um, so, yeah, August will be hell for every professor of nursing at Georgetown. Every professor of nursing, every clinical instructor, obviously the greatest stress will be with like, directors of programs, like director of BSN program, director of clinical nurse leader program, director of anesthetist program, nurse anesthetist program, director of nurse midwife program. They're the ones who are going to have the greatest headache, right? Because they have to worry about a lot of things that they have to redesign. Yeah, but Professor Yearwood, Dilma Yearwood, is the chairwoman of all the programs within Georgetown that's a professional nursing. I feel so bad for Professor Yearwood. She's going to be like so stressed out in month of August. And in a sense, like this is a guinea pig semester, and we're talking about both BSN traditional program and clinical nurse leader program. So many things can go wrong at so many points. Yeah, I mean, I do not. Oh my gosh, I hope they like pay Professor Schloss and Professor Yearwood more pay because it's much more extra work. I mean, if you're on salary, that's the problem with being on salary is you got to do all the work and they don't raise the pay, right? Whereas if you're an hourly pay, you clock in and you get more pay. But I'm sure Professor Yearwood will have to do like 500 hours of more work, this semester because of COVID-19. and Professor Schloss, probably have to put in like a couple hundred hours of more work. Professor Shana Metzger probably have to put in a couple hundred hours of more work in the fall semester. Yeah, it's like nightmare scenario. What's happening for fall semester at Georgetown for nursing? I mean, English history you just teach on Zoom. Have them write papers. It's like it's easier to transition, but nursing, my gosh. Oh, I feel bad for all the professors. But I bet they're like, oh, excited. Yes, the semester is done. Summer program is done as of Friday. They're probably all very excited because at least now they can breathe and start focusing on the fall semester. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, it's what 2-3 weeks away. Yeah, it's only 2-3 weeks away. Oh, geez, and everything's going to hit like BSN students, first year. They ask a lot of questions. You know, you know, nursing professors tell us like BSN students they ask a lot of questions. Can you imagine how many more questions they're going to ask during COVID-19 era? Just multiply the kind of questions they're asking you by like 10 to 100. So you can imagine what you have to do in the fall semester. I feel so bad for Professor Yearwood and Professor Schloss. But I'm sure they could handle it. Hopefully they can. I hope they don't have a nervous breakdown. You know, yeah, because during CNL 2020 cohort, some of the students shared with the court they had like a breakdown. They were like crying uncontrollably while they're taking a shower. It's a hard program. Can you imagine? Like, so in a sense, the way we took pathophysiology is like what Professor Schloss and Professor Yearwood, Professor Metzger, Professor Nolan, Professor Granito, what they're going to be experiencing like this year. Wow. I mean, that's yeah. Well, I hope everything goes well, but geez, can you imagine all the things that can go wrong? So I guess this next 2-3 weeks is like hell for every single nursing professor. For the department, it's like 2-3 weeks. They only have 2-3 weeks to get everything in order. Can you imagine that? I feel bad for Professor Kelly. Our sim nursing professor who she's director of all the simulations and everything. But when it's physically done, it's easier because she has like helpers set up things. But not now that first year BSN students, second year BSN students, third year BSN students, fourth year BSN students, they need the like virtual sims, right, on everything. And Professor Kelly Giffen, our nurse lab director, she has to design everything from scratch. Oh my gosh, can you imagine all the work she has to do? I hope they gave her extra pay. I mean, they're all like salaried professors, so Georgetown probably will not give them extra pay. But they have to do so much more work. Like history professor, all they have to do is go on Zoom and give the same lecture. You know what I mean? They don't have to change anything. But like Professor Kelly Giffen, director of nursing lab, I mean, she has to redesign everything. It's like work, work, work. Wow. I mean, geez. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I feel bad for board of nursing. Can you imagine all the things they have to handle? They're probably getting phone calls and emails flooding into them right now in August because nursing schools are starting in August and September. So board of nursing is probably flooded with everything. Yeah, I mean, geez. Yeah, it's a nightmare scenario, from bureaucratic perspectives. We don't know what's going to happen in the winter during flu season. So yeah, you're looking at a nightmare scenario from every angle right now in DC. And that's why Catholic University needs to close down and Howard University needs to close down because we don't need like 10,000 cases of COVID every day, right? Because students from like hotspots are coming here. Yeah, I mean, geez, we have enough worries and problems that we have to solve right now. I mean, do you need more worries and more problems? I mean, geez, I mean, we have like 2-3 weeks before semester starts, right? I mean, geez. I mean, there's a chance that a whole semester may fail. Can you imagine that? Not just Georgetown University Nursing Department, but Marymount Nursing Department, Catholic University Nursing Department, University of Maryland Nursing Department, George Mason Nursing. They may fail this semester. I mean, like literally, like fail as a department, as a program. Like things can go wrong to the extent that the whole semester collapses. That's the worst case scenario. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But I mean, we're talking about 18 to 21-year-olds, right? First year BSN program, second year BSN program, third year. They don't, you know, they have tons of questions, even when there is no COVID. So yeah, I mean, you're looking at, yeah, I mean, I don't think CNL program will collapse because they're all bachelor's programs, degrees, and they you know, they're like 22 and up. But yeah, BSN programs, yeah, we don't know what's going to happen to those. I mean, I think that if Georgetown School of Nursing and Health Studies ride out this year, this first year of COVID online, then second year, third year, they'll be smooth sailing because they've done it. They've redesigned everything. They just have to repeat it, enhance it, improve it. But this year, we're going to be 100% online in the fall. We're going to be 100 online in spring semester. And that's a guarantee. Because COVID-19, we have 50,000 to 70,000 cases per day now. This is summer. During the flu season, I'm sure there isn't a nursing professor who doesn't doubt that there's going to be 200 to 300,000 cases per day during flu season. This is summer and we're having 50 to 70,000 cases. So during flu season, we may even have like 700,000 cases per day. We don't know, right? Anything would happen, but certainly far more than 50 to 70,000 cases per day, right? Because this is summer. Flu season is when things spread much more quickly. So yeah, so that's coming in a few weeks. But yeah, so professors of nursing are probably more excited than us CNL cohort 2020 that the last day of class was last Friday, August 7th. Because they're like, oh, thank God, we need to like focus on the fall semester now. We have 2-3 weeks. We're like 0 to 70 in 2 seconds. We need to get this done in 2-3 weeks. So I mean, they're all scrambling, trying to get things done right now. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm going to be at Virginia Hospital Center, so I'm hoping to get involved in programs, but probably like a lot of the programs will be virtual, like programs for alumni. But I'm sure that's like the least that they're worried about now. They have to worry about first year BSN students, second year BSN students, third year BSN students, fourth year BSN students. That's like going to be like they're going to be preoccupied with that probably for the whole semester, So they probably won't have any alumni programs first semester, Yeah, but I feel for you, I feel for professors of nursing. I'm sure some of them are watching this show. I feel for you guys. Maybe they don't have time to watch this show. Maybe they have to like start getting ready for fall semester. Next 3 weeks, like sleepless nights preparing stuff. Oh my gosh, can you imagine that? Oh, yeah. Oh man, yeah, COVID-19 is getting worse. It's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. Yeah, yeah, it's unfortunate, but we didn't flatten the curve. We could have flattened the curve like in May. I told you, if you open up, we could have more cases. If you don't want, you want to reduce the case to 0, you have to close down, but we didn't close down. So, and we also had George Floyd protests. So, and that obviously spread it, many areas. Some areas more than others, So, yeah, so a lot of things happened. Yeah, but yeah, I wonder what's going to happen in the fall. Because right now at Georgetown we have like what about 100 cases, but in the fall, we may have, um, I mean, students, we don't have any classes, which is good, but, we still have the hospital that's running. And I think some of the professors are doing research, so some of them could die from COVID, you know. I hope nobody dies in the nursing department. It'd be so sad. We had a associate dean of nursing die on us, Professor Marianne Leones, and I kind of got to know her pretty well when I got accepted at Georgetown clinical nurse leader program. I worked closely with her, so I know her really well. So when she died, I was really sad, and that happened this academic year. Um, yeah, I mean, but there's a high possibility, some nursing professors, and nursing students could die before Christmas 2020. I mean, I'm predicting that out of us 25 CNL 2020 core members, that at least 5 to 10 will die. Because if all of us work in a hospital, I think there's a high chance that 20 to 30, maybe 40% of us will die. Because some people have asthma, some people are overweight, some people have peanut allergies. Some people have all kinds of different conditions. So, if you have pre-existing conditions, you have a higher chance of dying. So yeah, CNL students may die. Maybe some professors may die too. I mean, Jesus, we're looking at a very horrific flu season. Yeah, we're looking at a horrific flu season. There's going to be a lot of sadness, a lot of tragedy. Yeah. So we have about a month of summer left. So enjoy your summer. Get some sun, go to the beach. Just make sure you socially distance yourself. Wear a mask. Try not to talk to other people. Yeah, but enjoy your summer, because this may be your last summer if you die of COVID before Christmas, or during the flu season. It goes till like March. Um, yeah, so flu season's long. I mean, it's not. First peak was just from March to May, 2 months, and you know how that felt like, right? Now multiply that by like October, November, December, January, February, and March. 6 months, 3 times. You're going to be like locked in there for 3 months. Think about it. It's like Noah being on the ark for 100 days. It's longer than that, actually. Yeah, that's coming. That's coming. Um, yeah, so enjoy yourself in the little period you have left in the summer, because you need all the fun that you need to squeeze in to ride out 6 months of hibernation. Yeah, hibernation. Yeah. Ah, gosh. Yeah, but anyway, I will try to keep you alive. Um, Watch this show every day. It's a daily show, COVID-19 Update by Heerak. I created this show on April 2nd to save your life and the lives of your children. And I'm positive this show has saved thousands of lives for those who watched this show and took my advice. So you're welcome. I'm glad that I saved your life. I'll continue to work hard to save your life. So watch this show. Tell everybody to watch this show. Yeah, live by truth. Truth will set you free. It's not time to live a lie. Live the truth. Yeah, so I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And I hope that you will be well and that your children will be well too. Um, and yeah, I hope that your parents will be well too. And I'm going to bid you adieu for now. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Goodbye.